Tuesday. We got a handful of days until the end of the month. I'm excited to be here. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. I'm pretty fired up. I'm fired up for a few reasons. I'll be bringing on Noah Arnold here in just a second. If we can get you guys to turn on your cameras. We love seeing your faces, love seeing your smiles, love seeing your energy. It means so much. It means so much. So before we do that, I'm just going to go ahead and take over and read the mindset principle. So Brian, if we could throw those up so we can jump into the next thing. I should do this in an Arnold impression. Everyone get ready. Judge me. 1 out of 10. Here we go. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that. So mastermind principles. I release myself to the mastermind because I am strong when I have others to help me. I believe the combined intelligence of the mastermind creates a wisdom far beyond my own. I understand that I will more easily create positive results in my life when I'm open to looking at myself, my problems and opportunities from another's point of view. I decide to release my desire, totally entrust to the mastermind, and I am open to accepting new possibilities. I forgive myself for mistakes I have made. I also forgive others who have hurt me in the past so I can move on into the future with a clean slate. I ask the mastermind to hear what I really want, my goals, my dreams, and my desires, and I hear my mastermind partners supporting me in my fulfillment. I accept. I know, relax, and accept, believing that the working power of the mastermind will respond to my every need, and I'm grateful knowing this is so. Dedication and covenant. I now have a covenant in which it is agreed that the mastermind shall supply me with an abundance of all things necessary to live a success-filled and happy life. I dedicate myself to be of maximum service to the world and my fellow human beings, to live in a manner that will set the highest example for others to follow, and to remain an open channel of God's will. I go forth with a spirit of enthusiasm, excitement, and expectancy. Hey, I did it all by myself without making a mistake. You guys believe that? You guys see that? I'm fired up. I usually stumble. With that, I want to bring up Noah Arnold. He's got so much to share with us. A lot of tech, a lot of really cool things. Noah Arnold, if you could take it away, that'd be awesome.
Hello, everyone. Good seeing you all again. I saw a lot of you at the retreat, which we had an absolutely wonderful time at, and filming you guys and documenting all of the crazy content and value that happens at those things. First off, we're going to share a recap. We put this together from all the footage we got over the past little bit, and let me know if you guys can hear and see okay.
The Elite 100 live event in Chicago continued the trend of leveling up your Matrix experience. Guests were transported back to the lavish roaring 20s with our Great Gatsby-themed party. One of the highlights of the event was the keynote presentation by Jeremy Locke. He inspired the audience to use their wealth and influence to give back and make a positive impact, along with giving the workout of a Green Beret in the mornings. Brian Del Maso and others led insightful content sessions and hot seat discussions with prominent members of the Elite 100. These intimate chats gave insight and clarity to the members through the Mastermind. Another highlight of the event was our Snap networking sessions. These speed networking events gave attendees a chance to quickly connect with other prominent members of the Elite 100.
Hey guys, welcome to the finale of the Elite 100 week. It's been absolutely amazing. We've had incredible guests. We've had speakers coming with knowledge. We've had some fun times, hot seat coaching. Just an amazing week. And now we are fulfilling the fun part of the deal, right? One of the biggest parts of life is enjoying fun and recreation with human beings that you love. This is what we're really all about in the Elite 100 and the Matrix, is not just coming together for wealth building and mindset and content, but breaking bread, creating relationships, and really forging long-lasting friendships. So here we are. Welcome to tonight's event.
The grand finale was a dazzling fireworks display from a chartered luxury boat on Lake Michigan. The shimmering lights over the Chicago skyline was a perfect end to an unforgettable event. With glamour, inspiration, and insight, The Elite 100 live event was an exceptional experience you won't soon forget. This was a world-class celebration of affluence, influence, and ambition. Thank you to all who attended. This is just the beginning. Thank you for attending Matrix Success International's Elite 100 live event in Chicago.
Cool.
Woo! Great job. That was absolutely awesome, Noah. I did not know you guys were working on that.
Yeah, it was a ton of fun to film. Again, these events are always spectacular. And more importantly, what we're going to be sharing is giving you guys the intro to our portal, which we're working on. So as you guys know, all of the things that are presented at the events are recorded and edited and then put back onto the portal for everybody. The Matrix Success portal, most of you have a login. If you don't have a login, please go make a login, and that will give you access to all of the value that Matrix provides from these events, from recording your presentations to the hot seats to the notes to kind of everything that's at the center of the Matrix. So today and tomorrow, we'll actually be releasing the portal side that will have everything from this event, and that's your photo gallery. If you did a hot seat, that's your recording of your hot seat and everything else included. There's also a bunch of widgets and tools on there, like the lifestyle audit and the wheel of life that you should be filling out every 30 days to kind of keep track of everything. And yeah, we're really excited to present it, and you guys will be getting an update probably tomorrow with any additional details. And with that, I'll give it back to Antonio.
Oh, sweet. Awesome. Dude, that's really, really exciting. So thank you so much for that. So as you're seeing, there's more technology being implemented, more ways for you to tap into the Matrix ecosystem, resources, everything else. And just such an amazing video that you put up there, Noah. What an awesome recap of the event and everything else. So with that, I would really love to, like, if there's people that you'd love to nominate me, we're growing. The community has never been stronger. It's never been more entrenched. Relationships, like I'm just seeing it from a distance, seeing things getting a lot closer. So if there's anyone that you'd like to nominate to get into the Elite 100, to learn a little bit more about it, to see if they're a good fit, if they could provide value in any way, send Brian Dalmazzo an email of who this person is, or make a three-way connection via email with Brian. His email is going to be in the chat here in a second. And with that, I'd like to hand it over to Brian. Awesome, guys. Appreciate you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys. And Noah and the team, thank you so much for creating that. I love to see where we're going with the international portal. And, you know, one of the reasons we're creating that, especially if you did a keynote speech or a training yourselves, is for you guys to be able to grab imagery and your own speeches for your own social medias and your own PR and things of that nature. So as we grow, that portal is going to be a place for you guys to grab content for those of you that, you know, have businesses where you have outreach or you have marketing materials. So super excited for that. Before we keep moving, I want to welcome a new member to the group, Mr. Jeff Rubin. Jeff, I wasn't sure if you're going to be on tonight, so good to see you, brother. Him and I have spent last couple of months chatting back and forth. He's a close personal friend of Dalton Crosan's, and just a very highly networked person. He's into real estate. He's had a successful exit in the company. He's looking to build another one. He's building another one. So looking forward to getting to see and know you more, brother. Welcome to the family. Some of the other things we got in the loop, for those of you that are interested in the syndicate, we're at the point where we have enough interest to fully fund the first deal. So if you haven't been exposed to that, reach out to Valerie and myself, and we can get you some of the replays. I think most of you have, but we are at the point of looking to see really who's interested in the first deal and moving forward. We got the core team working on numbers. So obviously, you know, we got to get numbers to the deal before anybody makes a decision. But if you have any interest, please reach out to me and let me know so we can keep you in the loop there. We're going to be launching we are launching in September the Matrix Coaching Mastery. Some of you guys know about this. This will be a free benefit for anyone in the Elite. We'll be charging, I think, $3,800 outside, because there's a lot of coaches and consultants out there that want to learn how to build ascension models, build programs, build masterminds, have master classes, learn sales. Like, everything and all things coaching, whether you're a real estate coach, mindset coach, sales coach, whatever that is. Twice a month, we're going to be having a course with Maddie and I and Ivan, masterminding in all things coaching and consulting. And you guys are, anybody here, you're all invited to that for free as an additional benefit to the membership. Again, I think it'll be 3,800 or 4K outside of the matrix, but we have enough people in this group and that either want to be a coach or are a coach, and you're looking to break, 6 figures a month, right? That's the goal, is to get people that are in the coaching business past 6 figures a month doing something you love. So super excited for that. And yeah, that's, I think, all the updates. We'll have more on that probably next week, and also more on the website launch, with knowing the team's working on as well. So today we're going to finish out masterminding in the science of getting rich. So if you're new to the group, you want to go ahead on your Kindle or grab the book, The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles. I'm going to pull it up here so you don't have to worry about it. But the idea behind this is that we're all going through content together, right? We just finished up God Works Through You. We finished up Power of Awareness. We've gone through Thinking and Results, Lead the Field. Now we're going to move on to something a little more left brain that a lot of you elected when we last kind of posed, because the Power of Awareness and God Works Through You are sort of in the middle or more towards right brain, right? So getting back to some of the meat of what was behind Napoleon Hill and Earl Nightingale and Bob Proctor is the science of getting rich. So I'm going to go ahead and share the screen to that. And we'll just have an open mastermind in the content here. And again, if you're new to the group, we just kind of go back and forth, taking different sections and masterminding the content. So I'll go ahead and start. If anybody at any time wants to pause and interject or ask a question, feel free to do so. And then we'll just kind of round robin and switch it out. All right, so The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles. Well, first of all, show of hands, who has ever read this before? It's like a few of you. Okay, so it's good. A lot of you haven't. So as you know, when you're rewiring your subconscious mind, repetition is the key. It is almost completely useless to read a book once. And that's a bold statement. But the way the mind-body connection works, we all know that it takes about 20 times, right? You actually absorb about 5% of any book. Unless you're really advanced at absorbing material, if you've taken classes, most people observe about 5%. And this is why we read things over and over again. This is why we mastermind paragraph by paragraph. So for those of you that have read it, that's great. You're probably the ones that recommended it. And for those of you who haven't, please grab that and have it on your nightstand. And, 15, 20 minutes a night, just follow along with us and we'll mastermind on the content. So chapter 1, the right to be rich, says, whatever may be said in praise of poverty, the fact remains that it is not possible to live in a really complete or successful life unless one is rich. No one can rise to the greatest possible height in talent or soul development unless he has plenty of money. For to unfold the soul and to develop talent, he must have many things to use, and he cannot have these things unless he has money to buy them with. So when I first read this for the first time, I was like, wow, that's extremely left-brained, like material, almost like narcissist. But as you read on, you see he understands rich to be what we call wealth, not just money. Money's energy, though, right? Thousands and thousands of years ago, you might have been bartering sheep for some fish and some wood, right? But as it stands today, money is just a medium of exchange. It's just energy, right? It says a person develops in mind, soul, and body by making use of things, and society is so organized that a man must have money in order to become the possessor of things. Therefore, the basis of all advancement must be the science of getting rich. The object of all life is development, and everything that lives have an inalienable right to all the development it is capable of attaining. A person's right to life means his rights to have the free and unrestricted use of all the things which may be necessary to his fullest mental, spiritual, and physical unfoldment. Or in other words, we all have the right to be rich. So I know we've gone over this before, but what does being rich mean to you guys? Mr. Swerk, what does being rich mean to you? Everybody has different opinions of this.
In one word, I would say freedom.
I love that.
And what I really like, Brian, is that I have underlined in my book here that it's really and you talked about it real quickly, is the person's right to life means to have free and unrestricted use of all things. So I think that's really powerful, especially when it goes into the TIR content as far as the physical, the spiritual, and the intellectual as well. So, and one thing I got to say about this book, it's weird. There's no pages, no page numbers.
Oh, no. Oh, wow. I didn't even notice that. That's funny. We'll have to bookmark it then. That's literally, I never noticed it. And I've read this a few times.
My version has it.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
Too funny. Matt, you want to take over here where it says in this book?
Yeah, I'll read from your thing because I'll get them. In this book, I shall not speak of riches in a figurative way. To be really rich does not mean to be satisfied or contented with a little. I think that's important as well.
Mm-hmm.
No one ought to be satisfied with a little if he is capable of using and enjoying more. The purpose of nature is the advancement and unfoldment of life, and everyone should have all that can contribute to the power, elegance, beauty, and richness of life. To be content with life is sinful. So going back to one of the other lines, Brian, it's this idea of either growing or dying or expanding or contracting. We know as humans, as far as having goals and wanting to achieve, that's something that's within us. And like you said, money is just energy. And when we focus, I had a big shift when I started flipping houses, years and years ago, understanding that money was just a tool. And once you're able to learn how to leverage the tool, it becomes something that you no longer chase. It's just something you know how to use, pulling it out of your box.
Well said. Well said. Antonio?
I have something a little bit different from this. I wrote it down. It's that you have the right to model through resources. Here's what I mean by that, like the right to model through resources. So let's just say you've acquired resources, you acquire wealth to do what? Right. So if we're thinking for a moment, the wheel of life, like to model proper romance with a partner, like a philanthropy to give, to show, like if you have all these resources to model wickedness versus righteousness, I think it's for the usage of things that advance humanity and transcend humanity. And we all have the right to do that and to model it. And the way that we maximize that is by having an abundance of resources. That's my take on this.
No, I love that perspective for a whole bunch of reasons. And it's true. It's talking about, the purpose of nature is the advancement and unfoldment. So money is always a byproduct of creation, right? Whatever it is you're creating. And understanding that, I know a lot of people, even some people in this group that still have like a money paradigm, like, am I worthy? Do I deserve? Am I taking from others? Right? But there's a limitless, the government has proven this. They'll just keep printing money. There's no shortage of money. And Bob used to say that achieving money is just a measurement of services rendered. And I've seen some people get really, really financially rich and just be absolutely hollow in life because they never thought about once they got to 10 million, 100 million even, right? Even some billionaires, you see stories of the absolute hollowness because they've never contemplated what was the next step. What was the purpose? What was the deeper thing? So I love that perspective, Antonio.
Yeah, and Brian, as you
okay.
coach us on, I think the whole aspect of supercharging the image in our mind as far as what are we doing with that money?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is one of the things we focus on, right? Not just have a financial goal, but what's the deeper purpose so we can connect to it, so we can prepare for it. Antonio, you want to take over from here? The person who owns?
Yes, I will. The person who owns. So guys, I've been fasting and I haven't touched caffeine, and today was like the first time in forever. So that's why I'm like on crack over here. All right. So the person who owns all he wants for the living of all the life he's capable of living is rich. And no person who has not plenty of money can have all he wants. Life has advanced so far and become so complex that even the most ordinary man or woman requires a great amount of wealth in order to live in a manner that even approaches completeness. So every person naturally wants to become all that they are capable of becoming. So this desire to realize innate possibilities is inherent in human nature, and we cannot help wanting to be all that we can be.
I just want to back up this part here.
That's a good one, yeah.
Every person naturally wants to become all that they are capable of becoming. Why is it that 97% of the world is not doing this? What is you guys' opinion on that? Why are most people,
I
even
think
though
it's-
they want to?
Paradigm, social programming,
Hmm.
I
a
think
lot
it's
of it.
I think it's language too. I think there was a study that by the time a child turns 5, they hear the word no, whatever respective language, like 15-fold versus yes.
Holy
So
cow.
it was like some, like they hear it like whatever thousands of times by the time they're 5 versus like yes, yes, yes. So I think like hearing that, because you're stopping a child in the act of doing, in the act of exploring, typically, don't do that, stop, no, 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 no. So it I think it stymies growth. And I think, to Chris's point, it's a programming thing. I think that's a big part of it.
I love that perspective into it, especially because we have a lot of younger new parents in the group. So coming from that perspective and realizing like what is it that you're saying and doing and acting on a day-to-day basis around these super young impressionable minds, right? That's a really good point. Liz?
Yeah, I was just going to add environment. There's actually a movie called Yes Day, and it's because the kids get the parents to have a whole day where they can't say no. They have to say yes to everything. And
That's
so our
awesome.
kids love that movie, because actually the parents learn more from a yes day than the kids do.
Holy cow. Have you ever done that with your 5 children?
No, I would too afraid. I'll watch other people do it. Tell me how it goes.
That is absolutely awesome. I love that. I love that. Liz, you want to take over from here? Success in life?
Sure. Success in life is becoming what you want to be only by making use of things, and you can have the free use of things only as you become rich enough to buy them. To understand the science of getting rich is therefore the most essential of all knowledge. There is nothing wrong in wanting to get rich. The desire for riches is really the desire for a richer, fuller, and more abundant life, and that desire is praiseworthy. The person who does not desire to live more abundantly is abnormal, and so the person who does not desire to have money enough to buy all he wants is abnormal. There are 3 motives for which we live. We live for the body, we live for the mind, and we live for the soul. You want me to keep going?
Yep, until somebody has either an interjection or comment. Yep.
Okay. No one of these is better or holier than the other. All are alike desirable, and no one of the 3, body, mind, or soul, can live fully if either of the others is cut short of full life and expression. It is not right or noble to live only for the soul and deny mind or body, and it is wrong to live for the intellect and deny body or soul.
So that's something there. So how many of you have either been or seen people that are living almost all physically, or even the polar opposite, so spiritually that they're just not connected to the physical realm? I've seen and experienced that, where people they're rejecting material things and possessions so much that they're really walking around all in spirit. And what I say to them, which is baffling, I said, you know, there's a reason, there's a greater intelligence that created us to express physically. Why do you suppose that is? And it's just my opinion, but I personally don't believe we're supposed to ascend so much into spirit that we reject all things physical. Otherwise, we just would have remained spirit in the first place. But again, that's just my opinion. And I've seen it, mostly it goes the other way, right? People are walking through life almost all physical, intellectual, not tapping into source, not understanding co-creation. But it says here that the person who does not desire to live more abundantly is abnormal. I think that the masses are kind of lulled to sleep, and they've accepted that, oh, that's just not for me, or, you know, I guess this is as good as it gets. That's what as a coach, that's what I see a lot of. People sell themselves on excuses like, you know, I'm in a career, I have kids, like it just is what it is, and I guess this is as good as it can get. Anybody else experience that? What about if you know somebody that's either operating, you know, extremely one way or the other? Anybody that you may know of or in your families? Antonio?
Yeah, so on my mom's side of the family, they have a lot of like really big in the medical field. So doctors, hospital administrators, like you name it. And yeah, they tend to live in the world of pure biology.
Mm.
And anything beyond that, like they don't go so far, because then you get into like quantum realms and everything. So yeah, they there's a lot where they're very left brain with that. It's kind
That's
of hard.
interesting. The medical field. Are they
Yeah, very.
smokers?
Were they smokers? No. But yeah, that's where I see it the most, is with them. And some of them can have a bit of a God complex in the medical. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Liz?
I was just going to add, like when it comes to moms, right? So as a mom, you're always doing things for others and you're typically taking care of their physical being first, right? And so I know of a lot of mothers that will say like, well, I don't have time to work out, right? Because I have to take care of my kids. I got to go to work. I got to do all those things, right? And so they're probably going to church, right? So they could be reading, they could be doing maybe the other two, but they're, for moms, a lot of moms, typically their bodies, they don't typically spend a lot of time on that. They take care of everybody else first. So
1,000,000%. I think we've all probably seen that, and it's a motherly instinct to really sacrifice life and limb for your family, right? And it's unfortunate because we're teaching our children not good habits, right? Especially our young daughters. So it's reciprocated. They see it, you see it. We're growing up that way, and that's what I call it, societal generational programming. Instead of seeing the mom who understands, like, being the higher, fuller expression of herself is imperative to pass on from generation to generation. So I love that point of view. Corbin, what's up, bud?
So, I'm just kind of struggling with my brother, who, it seems like he's not living for any of them. He's been unemployed for almost a year. My niece got him a job at Costco, and he couldn't even get through 2 weeks of training without blowing it.
Ugh.
And he uses depression as an excuse. And, and so I think that there's that category too, and I don't even know how to help them.
Oh my God, that's probably one of the biggest categories. That's not a minority. That is a massive part of the masses. They're living, unfortunately, it's the educational system. We're not exposed to any of this stuff, right? In grade school, high school, college, and the exposure is just horrible as to what the possibilities are. So what you're talking about is a large chunk of the masses, unfortunately. And the next thing you know, they're on all kinds of medications, which is the pharmaceuticals' goal, right? That's big pharma, as opposed to education and explaining who and what they are and how they got where they are, and more importantly, how to reverse it. So if anybody has any family members like that, that is why we have the once a month socials in the Matrix. It's completely free. It's completely open to the public. It's just to introduce people into the culture of no one left behind and getting a leg up and getting some base information. So Corbin, I'm sorry to hear that, because obviously it's somebody near and dear to you, but I think we all have, situations like that. Eric?
Yeah, I think this comes up with an extreme example of someone I know who's a friend of the family's and a client who's total unconscious competent, who's worth close to $600 or $700 million, who only thinks about money.
Yeah.
He's estranged from his family, has no relationship with his daughter. His brothers, sisters, everybody's disowned him, and he has cancer, and he's literally by himself. He lives on an island conceptually by himself. Nobody talks to him. He's very hard to deal with, and he has all the means in the world to make a difference, huge difference.
Jesus,
and,
yeah.
Unfortunately, close to, yeah, literally. And I've, known him for my whole life. It's just, it's unfortunate he can't smell the roses.
That story's not, that also happens, right? Probably less frequently than Corbin's story, but that's the polar opposite of a similar tragedy, right? A guy could be changing lives all over the world, including his own, starting with his own. So if there's anything you think we can do, let us know in the way of a discussion or a chat or something. That's a shame when somebody's accumulated so much energy and they don't know what the hell to do with it.
Exactly.
Corbin? Oh, Corbin, do you have your hand up, or was that from last time? Are you talking, my friend? I don't know if he's having technical difficulties. Eric, you want to take over from here? We are all acquainted.
Okay. We are all acquainted with the loathsome consequences of living for the body and where do we go? Denying both mind and soul. And we see that real life means the complex expression of all that is a person and can give forth through body, mind, and soul. Whatever that person can say, no one can be really happy or satisfied unless his body is living fully in every function, and unless the same is true of his mind and soul. Wherever there is unexpressed possibility or function not performed, there is unsatisfied desire. Desire is possibility seeking expression, or function seeking performance. A person cannot live fully in the body without good food, comfort, comfortable clothing, and warm shelter, and without freedom from excessive toil. Rest and recreation is also necessary in his physical life. One cannot live fully in the mind without books and time to study them, without the opportunity for travel and observation, or without intellectual companionship. Sorry, something popped up my screen.
No, no worries. Eric, before you go on, it just came to me. I actually know somebody who's extremely wealthy, really good. They're past clients of mine, great couple. Between the two of them, they mind, body, and spirit. And he attracted cancer. And they went to some of the highest and best methods in Boston and beat it. If you want, I don't know how close you are with your friend or colleague, but
Very
I
close.
can potential introduction that may help from one rich person to another.
But that it might be something that he would probably listen to a person like that.
Okay, let me take a note on that. So I didn't mean to interrupt, but
Yeah.
I think we're right here.
To live fully in the mind, the person must have intellectual recreations and must surround itself with objects of art, beauty, and capable of using and appreciating. To live fully in soul, a person must have love, and love is denied fullest expression by poverty. A person's highest happiness is found in the bestowal of benefits on those he loves. Love finds the most natural and spontaneous expressions in the giving. The individual who has nothing to give cannot fill his place as a spouse or parent, a citizen, or a human being. It is in the use of material things that a person finds full of life of body, develops his mind, and unfolds his soul, and here before the supreme importance to each individual to be rich. It is perfectly right that you should desire to be rich. If you are a normal person, you cannot help doing so. It is perfectly right that you should give your best attention to science of getting rich, for it is the noblest and most necessary of all studies. If you neglect this study, you are a derelict in your duty to yourself, to God and humanity, for you can render to God and humanity no greater services than to make the most of yourself.
So for those of you who haven't read this, these first few chapters in The Science of Getting Rich, probably quite a bit different than you were thinking. And the other thing is this was written in the late 1800s, so it's very direct, right? It says, if you neglect this study, you are derelict to your duty to yourself, God, and humanity. People don't write like that anymore, like very straight and forward and honest and true. But the purpose of this is to harvest the good and forgive the rest. Like glean from this what you agree with, what you see valuable. And if you're not in agreement with something, you forgive the rest, right? Harvest the good and forgive the rest. This is why we pick different fields of study. But when I read something like that, it's like, holy cow, everybody here, we've definitely been giving the intelligence, the intellect, the awareness now to be our higher, fuller selves and to and to help others if you're so calling to do so. But I love how straight and direct it is. It's similar to like how Earl Nightingale used to teach. Another thing that came to mind with me when it talks about this is a story that just happened. My daughter Madison, the CEO of the company, last week she took the lifestyle enhancement 100 question to fill out the wheel of life, and it pulled in a big dent on philanthropy. And she's like, well, that can't be good. Knowing what we know and understanding what we understand. So she immediately got with Jeremy Locke and committed 10% of her income per month to the aerial recovery. And I didn't tell her to do this. Like, you want to talk about a proud papa moment. But she said, I've never been called, there was the Unstoppable Foundation that Bob Proctor and their whole, she never donated that. She's like, there was no intuitive calling. I felt like I was just giving money for the act of fulfilling this, philanthropic left brain thing. But since she was called to do that, and the feeling she was describing to me, I can't even put into words, right? So I'm 27 years old. So that's something in real time that talks about what you're doing here. Like, the purpose of earning could be to either generate, your own charities or your own give back, or to help others. So that was a proud papa moment. Mr. Shine, you were one of the proponents of this fine book. Do you want to take over here?
It'd be easier if I had my glasses. So
Can you not see?
So from the top you're talking about?
Yep.
There is a science of getting rich, and it is an exact science like algebra or arithmetic. There are certain laws which govern the process of acquiring riches, and once these laws are learned and obeyed by anyone, that person will get rich with mathematical certainty. The ownership of money and property comes as a result of doing things in a certain way, and those who do things in this certain way, whether on purpose or accidentally, get rich, while those who do not do things in this certain way, no matter how hard they work or how able they are, remain poor. I was just thinking about this because what you highlighted, it's comforting to know that there's a science to it. That's all I was.
Well, you think about Eric's friend, right? So now Wallace Wattles is talking about money, purely about money, like real estate, money, assets in this chapter. He's talking about financially getting rich. So, and it says here, you can do this intentionally or by accident. What we're doing here is intentional because we're studying the laws of the universe, like cause and effect and transmutation of energy and magnetism, right? We're studying all these laws. But you can do this by accident. But again, I wouldn't call Eric's buddy wealthy. I would call him financially rich. And he got there by accident. He could not teach this to another human being. So imagine if he got the idea that, listen, I've learned how to accumulate $700 million. What if I was to, be a mentor to young kids or something? Like, this guy could find purpose like that if he just had somebody whispering in his ear or something to give him some purpose. It's clear that he has zero purpose other than just more money, right? If he doesn't have a new lunch date like every day from people just wanting to be around him, he's clearly missed the boat. But just think about if he's accumulated that kind of money, he must have something to teach. And what a great way to spend the rest of his life doing something of value. So I hope something happens with him. But yeah, I agree. It is.
I was noticing that I don't think I ever heard unconscious competent until I met you and started doing this TIR, and that's really what Wallace Wattles is talking about here: unconscious competence. Just
well, absolutely, and it's good to know that, because some people say, I know this guy is a complete asshole narcissist and he's filthy rich. And I'm not talking about Eric's friend. I'm talking in general. Like, isn't he not in harmony with the laws? Right? Like, how did he get there? Like, that doesn't make sense. But that's what unconscious competent means in any field. Some people are unconsciously competent in sports or finance or romance or whatever it is. And they're just, for whatever reason, and Bob never cracked the code on this one. He doesn't know why some people are born unconsciously competent in certain areas. But what he did say is that every single human being on the earth is unconsciously competent at something. So we all have these God-given superpowers that we for some reason we get it and others don't, and we think it's common sense and it's not. So we all have that in some way, shape, or form. I think the journey and the purpose is to uncover that and strengthen that and put it to use. So yeah, I love that.
It is a natural law that like causes always produce like effects, and therefore any man or woman who learns to do things in this certain way will infallibly get rich. That the above statement is true is shown by the following facts. First, getting rich is not a matter of environment, for if it were, all the people in certain neighborhoods would become wealthy. The people of one city would all be rich, while those of other towns would all be poor. Or all the inhabitants of one state would roll in wealth, while those of an adjoining state would be in poverty. But everywhere we see rich and poor living side by side in the same environment and often engaged in the same vocations. When two people are in the same locality and in the same business, and one gets rich while the other remains poor, it shows that getting rich is not primarily a matter of environment. Some environments may be more favorable than others, but when two people in the same business are in the same neighborhood and one gets rich while the other fails, it indicates that getting rich is the result of doing things in a certain way.
I want to just compound on that a little bit, because this happens a lot. And this, if anybody's ever seen any one of my presentations that are outside of the elite when we do master classes, we talk about that. It's like you could be a realtor or you could be in real estate. You could be in stocks or you could be in stocks. You could be in e-commerce or e-commerce. So it's never a matter of geographically where you were born or the vertical that you're in. And this has come to me from all kinds of different books, right? And it's important to know that, because it's easy for us to blame our business or our geography on our results. And it's something that's so easy to do because we don't like to look in the mirror and understand it has to be us. It's a big pill to swallow. It has to be us. Not in a negative way. It should be in an empowering way, right? And then it's like, okay, well, how do I crack the code? What do I need to do differently? And that's why we're all here, by the way, is this study of ourselves and the study of the universe. But that to me was like, because in my younger days, I did that. I went from a couple of different careers. I was looking for the next thing, and you can get into shiny object syndrome, thinking, oh, it must be the vertical I'm in. It's never the vertical you're in, right?
I had this with my thing, title companies. Two of the biggest title companies in in the country are in Rhode Island, and they were sold. So Linear Title out of Newport and Liberty Title out of Warwick, both sold for multi-million dollars, and here I am puttering along. They're doing like 900 to 1,000 closings a month, and I'm doing 25 to 50. And but I took it like you said, with my renewed enthusiasm. I'm like, well, if two other attorneys in Rhode Island could set up two companies that could be in 50 states, then I certainly can do it. And that's where my goal is now.
Well, I love the change in attitude and perspective. But the other thing that comes out of Rhode Island is the #1 realtor in the country 5 years running.
That's right.
Like when I learned about that, I was like, what? Not California, not Texas, like Rhode Island. So our very own Kyle Siebes is a shining example of it. It has nothing to do with your geography. It has to do with your mindset. I was like, I thought it had to be a joke or a lie. I'm like, how is that even possible compared to some of these other real estate havens? I'm like, what do they call it? The biggest little state in the union?
Yeah,
Rhode
Island.
Mr. Patterson, you want to take over here where it says second?
Second, and further, the ability to do things in this certain way is not due solely to the possession of talent. For many people who have great talent remain poor, while others who have very little talent get rich. Studying the people who have gotten rich, we find that they are an average lot in all respects. having no greater talents and abilities than other people have. It is evident that they do not get rich because they possess talents and abilities that others do not have, but because they happen to do things in a certain way. Shall I continue?
Yes, sir.
Third, getting rich is not the result of saving or thrift. Many very, okay, that's above my pay grade. Penurious?
I don't know. Does anybody know what that means? Penurious? Penurious? I think Greg Guido does. No? What?
I mean, that's like a billionaire status word, Brian. That's like serious, like
Does
that's
anybody know
Dave
what that
Steck.
means?
That's Dave Steck word right
I
there.
got to raise my vibration to understand penurious.
Well, I don't like, we're gonna have to look that up. I don't like going forward. Many very, well, I'll figure that out.
For what it's worth, anytime that I come across a word that I don't understand, I take it as a personal offense. And I must figure that word out because I never want to feel this way again. Anyway.
Brian,
Wait. I
I
think
looked it up.
Megan might know. Megan might know.
Oh, just extremely poor.
Oh, well, that was easy. Thank you. Liz?
Yeah, it's on Google. It says poverty-stricken,
Ah.
penurious old tramp, extremely poor.
Gotcha.
Word of the day, folks. Congratulations, we found it. All right. So getting rich is not the result of saving or thrift. Many very penurious people are poor, while free spenders often get rich. Fourth, nor is getting rich due to doing things which others fail to do. For two people in the same business often do almost exactly the same things, and one gets rich while the other remains poor or becomes bankrupt. From all these things, we must come to the conclusion that getting rich is the result of doing things in a certain way. If getting rich is the result of doing things in a certain way, and if like causes always produce like effects, then any man or woman who can do things in that way can become rich. And
I just want to back up for a second. How many of you came from the school of like, I remember talking with Kyle, he was brought up this way. He was taught to like hoard and save. And even though he was making tons of money, he still acted like he was broke from early on programming. How many of you have gone through this journey where you learned about like the law of circulation and like freely giving? Michael, yeah. Did you used to be more of a hoarder?
We would talk about all sorts, anything. Oh, that's expensive. Don't spend on that, all this kind of stuff. But then when we learn the law of circulation with us, we're constantly saying if you put money out there, you'll get tenfold back. And I've actually seen it occur. So you don't have to be penurious to.
Yeah. Way to use the word. Tyler, you're one of the youngest guy in the group. You just bought yourself a McLaren. How did you know, or who are you talking to, or why do you know that it's okay for you to not just hoard, or is that kind of a new development for you?
Well, I mean, like at the end of the day, like I never really did hoard it. It was always just constantly spending it, reinvesting it, right? So really, like I was never really super big on like saving, but it was more so investing. So I just knew that at the end of the day, if you want your money to grow, right, if you want your wealth to grow, you can't just sit on it and hoard it. You have to put it in strategic investments that's going to multiply it, right? And like at the end of the day, the McLaren was just a splurge. Like it was kind of just like a one-time thing where I was like, you know what, like I don't spend any money really on myself like that, right? Like, and like as I get more successful and as I acquire wealth, you know what I mean, you have to enjoy those things. You have to appreciate those things, you know what I mean? So it's like at the end of the day, the way that I view money, it's a tool, right? Yeah. It allows you to do something. So like at the end of the day, it's like if I could take a little bit of money and buy myself a nice car, right? Cool. I get to enjoy that every single day. And I would rather take the money, use it for something that I could enjoy as opposed to it just sitting in the account.
No, I love that. And I would argue that the McLaren is actually an investment if we're talking like spiritually, right? Like how you feel in it. I remember you told me you drove up to some event that you were running and some older real estate dudes made a comment about, oh, nice daddy's car or something.
Yeah. And it's funny because that's the mindset that they're stuck in, right? That they don't think it's possible unless somebody provides it to you, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, I felt bad for them. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah,
It's,
yeah. No, I remember
very-
you laughed it off, but it's also, in some ways, it's kind of a backwards compliment, right? It's
Yeah.
like they don't even think it's conceivable that a 27-year-old dude could be, you know, that wealthy, pulling up in his own car, coming from working in a restaurant back when you're in your teens, right?
Yeah.
I love that. Love it. Matt?
So we've worked through some interesting things as far as saving, if you will, where Yun's family, for the longest time, we were in the dry cleaning industry and we learned everything from them. And I'll never forget that when we would stop to have lunch, there was like one paper towel that they would like circulate around and like save it, and they would literally, she would like wash the paper towel and then like save it for another time. And we were like, and so then what we did is we started like, oh yeah, we got to conserve paper towels. So instead of, getting the big pieces, we get to select a size. And then we took it even further where we're like, we don't really need this much paper towel. Let's rip it in half. And we've operated that way for a long time. And it wasn't until I think December when my mother was here and she was like, are you shitting me? She's like, you don't have napkins and you're going to give me half a paper towel. She's like, I'm taking a whole paper towel. And my kids were like, oh, and then all of a sudden we realized, we're like, this is so crazy. Like, look at this paradigm that I picked up from their family. And we're like, you know what? Like, we're going to just take paper towels and throw them everywhere. So
That's awesome. Now, the only other side of that, I could see if you, if somebody was doing that as a, how do I say, saving the earth, not putting stuff in refuse. I mean, it's biodegradable, but I can see that point of view if somebody's extremely green, but not from a point of view of like worrying about if there's enough paper towels to go around. Boy, that's crazy, huh? That's so funny. Chris Patterson?
First of all, I'm so happy we're going through this. I've actually had a desire to study money and how it works, and I just haven't fit it in. So it's great that we're kind of having some forced education here. I love it. Maybe forced isn't the right word. Whatever the right word is. But anyways, I heard a quote this last week that really freed me up. And, I come from pretty much a really broken family, no money, mom on welfare, and all the challenges. Out on my own when I was 14 and a half, 15 years old. So money's always been a stronghold for me in a lot of different ways. But I heard somebody say this week, they said, I take half of my money and I spend it like I'm going to live for another 50 days. He said, and I take the other half of the money and I invest it like I'm going to live another 50 years.
Tristan Tate.
Yep.
Tristan Andrew Tate, yeah.
Yeah, Tristan Tate just said that. And I went, whoa, that really helped me reevaluate, because, I'm investing in a couple different things right now, and I'm also spending in a few different areas. But I was like, gosh, man, if you get so caught up in investing for the future, eventually the future catches up to you. You're 85 years old and you're in your rocking chair and your diaper and you've got no memories.
Experiences. Yeah.
Yeah. No memories, no experiences. So I just thought it was such a simple, pithy way to really think about it. 50% for 50 days and 50% for 50 years. Now I might balance that out. Maybe 25% I'll spend, but I just felt like it was a very freeing comment and methodology to money.
Yeah, well, I think it was a big podcaster guy. He's really loud.
Bradley also.
Bradley. So Bradley highlighted that, but he said he's actually gone to 80-20, spending 80% and like he's living one more day, and 20% because he's accumulated some wealth. So a good example is like Eric's friend, right? He clearly sitting on 700 million with no life experiences and attracted cancer. So I think especially that's probably the biggest challenge of this group here, knowing most of you, is making sure you take time for the fun and recreation, memories, experiences bucket. That's why we try to do more and more things at the elite retreats, and we're going to lean more that way next time, more experiential, less classroom stuff, because we're getting together physically, right? And we can do the classroom stuff, when we meet every week. But yeah, that's the thing, and I think we've all experienced that. So most of you are probably in that. You worked very hard to get where you are. You've accumulated some wealth, and you're in that mode. And I'm glad you bought that car, Chris. That's absolutely awesome, right?
I burned the wheels off of it this morning. It was
Did you?
fun. I took my son and his two friends are here from out of town. So you guys want to go for a ride? Man, I lit it up. It was a lot of fun. That's why I was late. If I have to confess, I'm late because I was burning rubber, folks.
You got to get that on camera and put it in the group. Nice smoke. Michael, we'll wrap up with you, bud.
Certainly not a McLaren, but the sensible thing that I did after I had a model, I had a 3 Series ragtop convertible BMW, and I traded it in, and I ended up with a Honda Accord that I drove it into the ground. And I would go to, I was driving to closings in Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, putting a ton of miles. So that was my justification. But then I was talking to Brenda and I just said, I always loved my convertible. So we ended up getting a 4 Series BMW convertible with red leather. And oh my God, every day that I would go and get in that car, something in my inner being just completely changed. I was like, I can't believe I waited 10 years for this. I absolutely love that car. And it was just,
there's a feeling, right? In the physical state, we do connect to physical things and have experiences that are relevant. Too many times I see people rejecting possession like it's a bad thing. And like, I always stand back on my grounds of there's a reason we're here expressing physically. It's okay to enjoy these things and be a philanthropist, right? It's both. It's both. So I love that. I love that. Ara?
I'm the contrarian in the group as always. I buy convertible Mercedeses and I put 2x4s in them and drive, and everybody yells at me, "What the hell are you doing?" I own it because I love driving it, not because it's a showpiece or whatever. If I had
you use it.
I would do the same thing.
Right? I love that. Love it. Awesome, everybody. So again, this book is left brain mechanical. Oh, somebody else have something?
Well, real quick, so we have a Tesla Model X and it's got all the bells and whistles and we very much love this car. However, our dog, our little puppy, when he gets barky in the middle of the night, we'll put it on dog mode and just put the dog in the car, and it's perfectly climate controlled, perfect environment, and you cannot hear the dog at all. So literally last night, my wife said, "What would we do without the Tesla?" And it's like, well, it's
one expensive doghouse.
That's
exactly
expensive doghouse. Awesome. So again, thanks. I think it was Michael Shine that originally nominated this book. Thank you for that, because this is, if you want a mechanic, the mechanics in step 1, 2, 3, 4 of generating a lot of financial wealth, this is one of the best books that I've ever seen. So I'm going to enjoy going through this. Please grab the Kindle, grab the hard book, have it on your nightstand, 10 minutes a night, stay into content, and we'll keep reviewing it together from time to time, every 5th or 6th week. And hopefully you guys enjoy it as much as I have. Until next time, a lot of exciting things to look forward to. Big announcements next week. Have a great week. Be well, and God bless. We'll see you guys soon.
Take care, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Have a great day.